Jon Brower Minoch. At his peak, Jon Brower Minoch weighed 635 kilograms or 100 stones. And this is the life of the man who became the fattest man in world history. On September 29 of 1941 in Washington, USA, Jon Minoch was born to a family of a machinist as his father and a registered nurse as his mother. Even at his birth, Minoch weighed abnormally 3 kilograms. While still an infant, his parents moved from Seattle to an apartment at Bellinghorn Hotel, where his father later died of a heart attack in 1986, when Minoch was then just 3 years. Things really got hard on Minoch, as even in his early age, he suffered from a severe case of obesity. At age 12, Minoch shockingly weighed at 133 kilograms. By age 22, Minoch's weight had grown to shockingly 178 kilograms and later grew even more to a body weight of 320 kilograms or 700 pounds. At only 6 feet in height, Minoch had an extraordinary 80% body fat. That is to say, 80% of Minoch's body was fat. Minoch suspected his gigantous body was due to his massive water retention his body had, which was probably the primary cause of his severe obesity. But David Haslam didn't buy this, as he believed the excessive water retention on Minoch's body was only a consequence of the obesity and not the actual cause. However, despite his condition, Minoch boldly refused to accept his condition and strongly tried living a normal life. He later went to Bothell High School, and while there, he met Jean McArdle and soon both got married in 1963. They both operated their own taxi company, which happened to be the only taxi company on the island at that time. People close to Minoch had known him to having positive reputation, as Minoch was known to always be a warm and funny family man. It's believed that Minoch also broke another world record of being the heaviest husband in comparison to his wife body weight, who at the time she was only 50 kilograms. Sadly, Minoch and Jean divorced in 1980 and Minoch got married to a second wife, Shirley Ann. 2 years later they both sired 2 sons, John and Jason. However, as days passed, Minoch's health got a heavy toll on him. Minoch eventually got so tired of being big and heavy to a point he decided to survive on eating almost nothing. Under his doctor's watch and prescription, Minoch had to survive on a meal of only vegetables in a quest to lose weight. He also tried taking larger doses of diuretics in an attempt to lose the excess fluid buildup in his body. All to no avail. Months later things moved from worse to worse and Minoch finally decided to go to hospital. This after a long plea from his wife and the fact that Minoch himself got tired of being bedridden for weeks. Minoch luckily got admitted to the University of Washington Medical Center in Seattle on March that year, and Minoch was diagnosed with a heart and respiratory failure. During his transfer from the house to the medical center, it took over 12 men and a modified stretcher to carry and transport him. It's even said that the dozen rescue personnel were forced to remove a window of his home and even had to place him on a thick plywood for his easy mobility. Finally, while there at the hospital, it took 13 attendants to place him on 2 joint beds since he could not fit on one. It was even harder rolling him over the bed. Minoch was diagnosed with a massive edema, a condition where the human body accumulates excess extracellular fluids. Even with a scale, Minoch's body weight could possibly not be measured as he was just too big for the scale. However, endocrinologist Robert Schwartz estimated his body to be 635 kilograms, with a higher possibility that it weighed even more. What really shocked Robert was how Minoch managed to still stay alive at that extreme body weight. Soon Minoch had reached a peak BMI of 186 kilograms/meters squared, and had to spend several days on a respirator as fat had even accumulated pressing together his nostrils and lungs, and hence could hardly breathe naturally. Minoch was also said to be suffering from symptoms of Pickwick syndrome, where the levels of carbon oxide in the bloodstream keep rising with very little elimination from the body. Luckily, Minoch managed to stay in hospital for 2 years, and was put in a strict diet of 12,000 calories per day. When discharged, Minoch had finally broken another world record. He had lost over 400 kilograms. Yes, 400 kilograms. Which is the heaviest human weight loss in history. Nevertheless, Minoch sadly, while back at his home, gained back rapidly almost all the weight he had lost in matter of few weeks. Minoch later died on September 4, 1983, aged just 41 years old. At the time of his death, Minoch weighed 365 kilograms. The cause of his death reportedly being cardiac arrest, respiratory failure, and a restrictive lung disease as a contributing factor. His casket was made of thick plywood, which took 2 cemetery plots, and around 11 men were needed to carry him to his burial place, which was at Mount Pleasant Cemetery. This is the story of Jon Brower Minoch, the world's fattest man ever. May his soul rest in